Thank you. Please be seated. I'm Staff Sergeant Patton, Team Training Instructor. Thank you for attending the graduation of EMT Class 1202. Our distinguished guests for today's graduation are Maintenance Group Commander Colonel Blisner, Missile Maintenance Squadron Commander Lieutenant Colonel Vance, Maintenance Operations Squadron Commander Lieutenant Colonel Young, and MMXS Maintenance Operations Officer Captain McDaniel. Next, I'd like to introduce the team training instructors. Lead Certified Instructor, Staff Sergeant Sean Scribner. And Lead Non-Certified Instructor, Staff Sergeant Garrett Clark. Welcome, friends and family members. I'd like to thank the instructors for 83 training days put forth in this training class. They qualified the students on 211 maintenance tasks. 3 students received a satisfactory rating on LF pen and backout and emergency procedures, and all students received satisfactory on their final evaluation. Now to introduce the graduates. Technical Sergeant Robert A. Davalos, 32 years old, born 28 October 1979, from San Antonio, Texas. He entered the Air Force the 12th of October 2000, and he arrived at Malmstrom on 20 November 2011. His previous assignments: Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, Vandenberg Air Force Base, and Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. His hobbies include running, swimming, art, spending time with his 3 boys, and of course his girlfriend. Future plans: finish school, go as far up in the Air Force as possible, and retire and live well. His family members joining him today are his girlfriend Nikki, his son Kai, and his 2 sons, Christian and Xavier, could not be here today. A1C Jonathan Fowler, 21 years old, born March 31st, 1991, from Claremont, Florida. Date entered the Air Force December 13th, 2010. He arrived at Malmstrom June 23rd, 2011. His hobbies include Transformers, reading, games, and staring into space. His future plans are college, and eventually get married and have kids, and maybe even buy a car. Next, A1C Johnny Hawkins, 22 years old, born September 30th, 1989. His hometown is Beaumont, California. He entered the Air Force January 3rd, 2011. He arrived at Malmstrom August 23rd, 2011. His hobbies include dirt bikes and any other off-road vehicles. His future plans are to get a degree in criminal justice. Today, his wife Morgan and his 2 daughters Emily and Haley join him today. Next is A1C Richard Kozura. He's 23 years old, born April 3rd, 1989. His hometown is Ponder, Texas. He entered the Air Force January 26, 2010. He arrived at Malmstrom August 26, 2010. His hobbies include hunting, fishing, camping, mudding, traveling, snowboarding, and working out, loud trucks, beautiful women, and going through training 3 times. Future plans are to progress as far as possible in his military career and try not to get married. His mom, Marcy Kozura, joined him today. Now I'll turn the ceremony over to Colonel Blisner for the presentation of diplomas and to provide closing remarks.
Okay. And I always reverse them, so I'm going to provide opening remarks and then diplomas, if that's all right. But first of all, welcome to all the families here. This is the first time I've seen this many children, even a mother of our graduates come to this ceremony. So thanks for being here, and thanks for your support of your boyfriend, spouse, son, father. This is a lot of work to get to this point, so I also would like to thank the instructors for all the hard work you put into imparting the knowledge that you've gained, the experience that you've gained to these folks and having them ready to run the field for us. The job that they're about to do is an important one. For EMTers, the things that you work on, well, for all of missile maintenance, the things that we work on here are all related to a nuclear weapon system. There's no room for error. Everything has to be done precisely correct every time you do it. For EMTers, you're handling code components. There's special requirements that go with that, and I know you've learned all about it. That's vitally important that you always adhere to the requirements of those code handling requirements for the things that you're going to be bringing to and from the field and using in the field. It has to be done right. So it's critical. The other thing you work with that we just found out again this week is important is the security system. When you're working on the security system, you're dealing with the security of a nuclear weapon system. You're dealing with the possibility of a problem related to weapon system safety rules, and those are very significant issues. So the things that you do, you're about to do in the field, really have a very big impact on our business. So thanks for your hard work in this training program. Whenever we have a graduation, I always hit on the four things that I've found in the course of my career are the keys to success in the ICBM business across the board, shred outs. And it's a slogan that I hope you've seen up in the hallways, and maybe you've even heard it from me before, but it's C2P2. And the first thing is compliance. Compliance is king in this business. The American people are trusting us with nuclear weapons. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done right every time. You need to know, understand, and follow your technical orders, your AFIs, your code reg, other things that apply to your job. The way that you learn to do it, the way that your TO says to do it is the way you must do it every time you go out to the field. Compliance is king. So that's number one. Secondly is communication. The issue we had earlier in the week, poor communication was right at the core. Communication is going to be critically important as you work together in teams, as you communicate with the mock, what you're doing out in the field, as you communicate with the capsule crew and tell them the impact you're about to have on the weapon system, the configuration you're leaving the weapon system in when you back out. So communication is vitally important. Make sure that it's complete and thorough. Don't speak in sentence fragments. Make sure you understand what's being said to you, and make sure the other people you're talking to know exactly what you mean before you move on. So complete and thorough communication is critical. And then we have proficiency. This is the starting point. You've learned a great deal. You've been through Vandenberg. They taught you a lot there. The team training instructors here have added to that knowledge, and now you're ready to run the field, but it doesn't mean you've arrived. You should be continuing to build on that knowledge, continuing to look for any weaknesses or gaps in your knowledge and fill them in. And as you look around this room, you see a lot of people who've been doing maintenance for a while, who've been doing your shred out and other shred outs in the missile maintenance business. They've all got something they can teach you. So use that resource of more experienced folks around you as you begin to build your knowledge and experience. Okay, so that's we're at C2, P2, proficiency. The other piece of proficiency I would say goes back to compliance. If you do your job one way and one way only, every time you do it, you'll be very good at doing your job right. Some people over time get a little bit complacent. They start to think, gosh, you know, there's the way I do it when QA is evaluating me, but when no one's around, I know a faster way or a better way. Don't do that. Don't let yourself fall into that. Do your job the same way every time, and it'll help your proficiency as a technician as well. And then lastly is professionalism, and that's an extremely broad term. It relates to the way you wear a uniform, the way you execute customs and courtesies when you're around the base. But I would argue that it goes beyond that. There are some people in the Air Force at times who get the feeling that when they take off the uniform, they take off the core values, or they take off their representation of the United States Air Force, and that's not true. 24/7, downtown, on base, wherever you are, you're a representative of the United States Air Force. So maintain yourself in a professional manner, on and off duty. All right. So those are four things that I found to be absolutely key to success in the missile business in my 23 years doing it. Welcome to the EMT force. We're looking forward to seeing you out there in the field fixing missiles. So congratulations and good luck.
Students prepare to graduate. Technical Sergeant Robert Davalos.
Do we have an official photographer?
A1C Jonathan Fowler.
I guess you're the photographer.
A1C Johnny Hawkins.
Great job.
A1C Richard Kozura.
3 times the level. You should be very ready to go. That's it. Thanks, congrats.
The Distinguished Graduate Program recognizes the student who excels above all others. The individual must maintain a professional attitude, exceptional personal appearance, and be highly motivated. The student must demonstrate leadership and receive favorable comments on all evaluations and observations conducted by QA, instructors, and flight supervisory personnel. Today we recognize A1C Kozura as our distinguished graduate.
Good start.
Thank you, Colonel Blizzard. This concludes the formal portion of our graduation ceremony. Please come forward to congratulate the graduates. Thanks for attending.